Oh, hey, I tried listening very closely today. I opened the window here in the studio and stuck my head out into the brisk air, trying to see if I could hear it. I couldn't hear it. I turned on television channel after television channel looking for it. I couldn't hear it. It just wasn't there. I've been waiting all day, and I can't seem to hear it. What I'm talking about is the screaming and farting and wheezing and yelling and talking about the weaponization of the Justice Department following the indictment of Democratic Senator Robert Menendez in New Jersey. Well, in New York, he was indicted, but he's a New Jersey Democrat. And I've been waiting all day. Hello? Hey, you Trump scum, you filthy maggots, where are you? Here's another example, according to you, of the weaponization of the Justice Department. You're being silent, though. I don't get it. Can somebody explain this to me? Also, kind of related, where are the NRA scum and the filth that love guns more than they love children in this country? Where are you where it concerns the indictment that Hunter Biden has got? I think he's been indicted, right, on gun charges because he bought some guns when he was a coke freak, a coke addict. Where are you? Yoo-hoo! Right-wingers, maggots, you hypocritical son of a bitches, all of you. Speaking, well, I'll get to that in a minute about another one of these hypocrites. But anyway, Menendez has been charged in a federal corruption indictment. And it's my understanding he stepped down from his position as the head of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. It was a lengthy investigation. This is not the investigation that he was tried on a few months back and wound up with a hung jury, and the case was dismissed. This is different. And it comes nearly 6 years after his trial on those claims of a different kind of corruption, which ended in the hung jury. I guess it was 6 years ago. Okay. Now, the indictment was unsealed in Manhattan federal court, and it names Senator Menendez and his wife of 3 years, boy is she, Nadine Menendez, and a prominent New Jersey real estate developer named Fred Diabes? Diabetes? No, it's D-A-I-B-E-S. Diabes? Okay. And the indictment accuses the three of them of participating in the scheme. Another person was charged, a person named Wael Hanna, who is a longtime friend, according to New York Times, of Mrs. Menendez. And he founded a halal meat certification business in New Jersey. You know, halal is the, now don't scream at me for saying this, but it's the Muslim equivalent of kosher in the Jewish religion. Never mind. Anyway, this guy was charged too. And then there was a fifth person, a New Jersey businessman, Jose Uribe. Now, people in the know, that would not include me and maybe not include you unless you live in New Jersey, knew that for some time Menendez has been under federal scrutiny. And he said in the past that he was willing to assist investigators. Yeah. And he was confident the matter would be, quote, successfully closed, end quote. Well, guess what, Senator? It hasn't been successfully closed. And you and your psycho-looking wife, are in for some difficult times now, I'm afraid. Now, Menendez has already gotten a challenger when he is up for re-election, I think in November of next year, 2024. It would be his fourth term in the Senate. And there's also a Republican, the mayor of Mendham Borough in New Jersey. He said he will probably run also. And if Menendez were to step down before the end of his term, of course, the Democratic governor of New Jersey would be responsible for appointing a successor. Yada, 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 yada. He is the son of Cuban immigrants, Menendez is. He built his power base, according to what I have here, in Hudson County, New Jersey. It's a very rough political proving ground in northern New Jersey, a lot of mafia there. And he began serving on the school board in Union City, New Jersey, when he was only a 20-year-old college student. So he has been indicted on corruption charges, and I would imagine that Marjorie Taylor Greene and Eddie Munster, a.k.a. what's his name, from Florida. I'm sure they will come screaming out of the woodwork any moment now to Menendez's defense and, state over and over again that it's another example of the Biden Justice Department being weaponized by that terrible, filthy, communist, fascist, drug-dealing, gun-running President Biden, right? No? It's not going to happen, you don't think? Well, if it doesn't happen, then can we also include that lack of defending Menendez against the weaponized Justice Department in the long list of bullshit that spews out of the mouths of these Christian fascist devils? Hey, what about Ron DeSantis? You talk about a rapidly disintegrating political campaign. He's toast. He's over. He's finished. And I have an idea, and I've heard a lot of things over the past few days about why DeSantis is finished. As far he hasn't officially dropped out yet, but he's not going to proceed any further than he already is. What has he got? 3%, 6% of the vote, or something. But a lot of the ideas as to why his so-called presidential campaign has crashed and burned has to do with, trying to be an imitation of Donald Trump. The idea being, why would you, if you're a Trump fool, asshole, robot, why would you vote for an imitation when you can vote for the real thing, right? And also that DeSantis has the personality of a goddamn sack of marbles, which is kind of a slam on a sack of marbles. But all kinds of reasons. I mean, would DeSantis, every time I've seen him, even back when he was running for governor against Charlie Crist, I think, he just, I don't know. There's something about the guy that just creeps me out. I mean, truly creeps me out. Maybe it's the way he talks. Kind of like, Mike Pence creeps me out when Mike Pence talks. You know how Pence will tilt his head this way and tilt his head that way and occasionally glance up to his Lord and Savior in the sky. And, that smarmy, I'm a Christian, you're a scum look that's always on Mike Pence's face. But I digress. I'm talking about DeSantis. DeSantis has a look on his face that to me says one thing: stay away. Abandon hope, all ye who enter here, right? Anyway, I have an idea, though. The real reason he has failed is because, he is a Christian fascist. There's no question about that. And it shows what happens when they are open about their ultimate plans for the United States. DeSantis apparently never learned that you have to be sneaky, you have to be a liar, you have to be secretive, like so many of the Christian fascists really are. All of them are that way, frankly, the Christian devils. And DeSantis, he's just caused super hell in the state of Florida with his attitude about gay folk, his attitude about Jews, his attitude about LGBTQ folk, his attitude about school books, his attitude about race. He all he's doing is putting up front the foundational basis for Christian fascism. But he's been too open about it. The Christian fascists will tell you, no, you can't do it that way. You got to be sneaky. You got to lie. You got to convince the voters that you're all about family values, or you're all about the flag and America and the Constitution, when that is utter and absolute bullshit. If you've stayed up front And the Christian fascists know this. They've known this since Jerry Falwell. If you state up front what you're about, you're going to lose the money backers because you're being too obvious. Christian fascism demands deception if it's going to work. And to a certain extent, it has worked quite well, thank you very much, in this country of late, right? But maybe it's starting to splinter a little bit. I have been reading some commentary from followers of Jesus. You notice I don't say Christians. Some followers of Jesus, they would identify themselves as Christians, I know, who have been making it clear that what is passing for Christian nationalism, or what I call Christian fascism in this country, is not really what the rabbi from Nazareth, Jesus, was trying to teach people 2,000 years ago, if he was trying to teach them anything. As far as I'm concerned, and I get this from the book Zealot. You should read it. I'm telling you, Zealot. What I got from that book was what I've said before, that Jesus was a revolutionary rabbi. He was an ass kicker. He wasn't about turn the other cheek. He was about give me a sword and let's get these goddamn Romans out of the Holy Land. That is the Jesus that I have come to believe existed, the historical Jesus. I believe I do believe the man existed, but his mythology was built completely by radical Jews who were sick of the Jewish faith as it was being practiced in that time. This is my understanding. I may be totally wrong, but it's my understanding. And consequently, these radical Jews, Saul, who had his conversion on the road to Damascus, became Paul. Peter, who was in Rome, convincing the Roman Empire leaders that Christianity, it wasn't called Christianity at the time, I don't think, but monotheism was the way to go. Get rid of all these bullshit gods that throw thunderbolts and shit, and believe in our God who created the world just 4,000 years ago. Well, 6,000 years according to the mythology, but if you said that 2,000 years ago, it would never mind. So anyway, it is this idea of Christian fascism is by definition is sneaky, is deliberately sneaky, is deliberately misleading. It's a deliberate lie. It's an attempt to soften people up and say, look, vote for me because, like I said a second ago, I'm all about family values. I'm all about the baby children. Oh, I just love the baby children. I'm all about loving women until they get into office. And then the facade falls, the costume is ripped off, and you see standing before you a demon from hell who claims to be Christian. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. The Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical talk radio network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.